So I figured we would start with the person who is actually bringing light to it, aka like watching Poki's opinion or her take or whatever, and then we could watch anything else about it. 1.5, I read about it, but I didn't see the clips. Yeah.
A few months ago, a few girls in my community came forward to me with some concerns and asked to speak to my manager. They proceeded to send my manager countless screenshots and videos of their conversation with him, proving the lying and manipulation that was going on. So basically, he would reach out to girls that he knew were like in my chat or viewers of mine. He would approach them, and because of his connections with streamers and the company he worked at, he seemed like a very trustworthy individual. He would then tell the girls that he's suicidal and deals with mental health issues, which of course would garner him a lot of sympathy. And again, these girls are so sweet, so of course they would hear him out. And then once he felt that he gained their trust enough, he would start sharing these photoshopped Discord conversations with me. Like he would share it with them, but they were of me and him.
The TLDR is just that there was someone pretending that they are dating Pokey and going around telling like other women in the space, like, oh, like you can trust me. Like I'm literally like, you know, me and Pokey are dating on the down low, blah, 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 blah. And then people would see that, people who respect Pokey, and they would be like, oh, well, if Pokey trusts you, then you're probably like a, you know, a good person, blah, 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 blah. Because you can get a lot. If people, it's just a random guy. She said that it's someone who is supposed to be like a higher up, someone who has some power in like the Twitch ecosystem. People do the weirdest shit with influence. It's really disgusting. Yeah. I mean, he's just doing social engineering, the TLDR is. They weren't even dating. Like it was just a friend of hers. Pokey's already talked about the fact that like she already receives enough harassment all the time, every single day that exists. She has no interest in publicizing a relationship if and when she even gets in one, because she's said herself she doesn't want to subjugate the person that she dates to like this level of harassment. Like I don't think people recognize that like you are not like you as in like every single one of us is not made for that level of like delusion and like harassment. And you can talk to people who have dated popular content creators, and every single one of them will tell you that it was one of like the worst experiences, not because of the content creator, but because of other people's harassment. I only recently heard about this, but apparently like Markiplier's girlfriend or wife or something. I don't follow Markiplier, so I don't know. The only reason that I know about Markiplier is like because of Five Nights at Freddy, and that's it. But like Markiplier's partner just gets an insane amount of harassment, like because Markiplier has such a large community, especially of young women, that like these are people who are maybe not mentally well, who are at their computers all day, who feel the need to like make these weird armchair psychology statements about their partners. And you just, if you date someone that is as big as Pokimane, you will receive like hate mail, you will receive death threats, like you will, it's not cool. I spoke to someone recently who was, they're just a normal person, and they were dating like a very big YouTuber, and their relationship wasn't even really that public. And she was telling me that like she had literal multiple Tumblr blogs dedicated to like people hating her, and like people would find like this image of like this guy with another girl, and they would Photoshop this other chick into all of their couple pictures. Like it was not like sane behavior. Like it was very like not normal behavior. And like that's like the thing that's like really cringe. It's like this person, aka Pokimane, saying, you know, I personally like I don't want even to publicize any of my relationships. I've seen what the internet does, and like I can deal with it. I'm not putting someone else up to deal with that shit. Like that's disgusting. I would never do that. I would never put someone else up for that level of harassment. Is it the same with streamers dating other streamers, or just when streamers date not so famous people? No, it's like it's honestly it's like both. Even like even if you talk to people who are streamers who've dated other streamers, there's like a whole slew of different issues there, because there are a lot of people who will start to like, if you argue on stream ever, which is normal, all partners are going to argue at some point, then there'll be like a list of people being like, wow, look at this partner, they're abusing my streamer, that streamer is abusing my streamer, and no one is talking about it. So like if anything, the more public it is, the worse it is, especially if they break up up, that's like the worst. The worst. How about even like a female and male interacting on stream? Literally just like two people the opposite gender interacting on stream. Like I don't know if I've really talked about it myself, but like I don't even like having other people in my stream most of the time because I just don't like dealing with like that 1% of people that are gonna be weird. Because like 99% of you guys are gonna be totally cool, totally normal. And you'll see someone else on stream and you'll be like, oh, maybe today is gonna be a day of less chat interaction. I won't come to the stream. Or like, oh man, I'm really excited for this collaboration. I'm gonna come to the stream and I'm gonna chat around. And that'll be fun. And then there's always that 1% of people that are like really insane. And then they're like, okay, well now I'm gonna go harass this person. Hassan and Valkyrie. Do you guys remember when I forgot what I was talking about. I don't remember the context of it, but like the people who like speculate whether or not people are dating. That's so weird. It's so strange to me. Like it's really like there is parasocial, and I think it's okay to have some level of like parasocial behavior. Like I think that's fine. Like we've had like movie stars around for forever and people have been parasocial about those people forever. I don't think that there's anything wrong with that. Like I have streamers that I go and I watch and like I just want to watch them for hours and hours and I really like them. I'm like, oh man, this person's so cool. I love watching them. They make me so happy. And like they don't even know who I am. Like I'm literally a who omega lol. You know what I mean? But I like watching them and I'm like, I hope they're having a good day, Peepo Shy. Like I hope that like, you know, everything in their life is going well. I'm gonna prime sub and you know, I'm gonna lurk in chat. That's fine. Like there is nothing wrong with doing that. Like that's completely 100% fine. Because that's just like you are going somewhere to make yourself feel better and to make another person feel better, you know? And that's it. There's not anything else happening there. Once you get to the point where you become like parasocial, like hater, that is unacceptable. If you find yourself like dedicating energy and time to hating someone online, that's not good for you. Like it's literally, that's like how you give yourself mental illness, okay? Going and showing up to someone's stream just to harass them or replying to all their tweets just to harass them or something. Like it's not even good for your brain. Or like if the like of a streamer becomes so parasocial that you start like making shit up in your head, basically. So like if you're at the point where you're like, yeah, like me and this streamer are dating and you've never spoken in private ever, or like there is nothing that would suggest that that is true, like then you should take a step back, right? But it's fine to be parasocial. It's fine to like have some level of parasocial behavior. It's just, you just need to check yourself before you wreck yourself. You know what I mean? Because like it's not good for your brain. It's really not. Actually, I'm dating every Twitch streamer. Actually, me and Poki are actually dating, guys. Yeah, she was talking about wanting like a stay-at-home wife. So I'm gonna be her stay-at-home wife from now on. It's just a matter of time before she invites me to her home so I can cook all of her meals and clean for her. Okay. So yeah. Dude, I love what Poki did with her setup. It's so cute. I was uncertain about these torture cages when she bought them, I guess. Wow, I'm sounding very parasocial, but I see her clips very often because she's the biggest female streamer. Also, I am parasocial about Poki. I'm not even gonna try and pretend like I'm not. Like I'm so parasocial about it. Like straight up, if Poki wasn't on this platform, there are so many streamers that would have never become streamers. Like I don't know that I would have been a streamer if Poki wasn't around, because I saw other women in the space succeeding like Poki and I was like, oh, okay, like maybe I can do it. But if I came to Twitch and it was only men, like I would have been like, oh, like I'm not gonna make it on this platform. I'm not gonna bother. I'm gonna go do something else like YouTube or something. Cutie is uber parasocial with Poki. I'm so parasocial about Poki. I love Poki so much. But like that's because she is like, yeah, she's like a symbol on Twitch. Ray mentioned a story on Hassan's stream that a fan came to her and literally broke down crying about the inner encounter because she was such a fan. Wait, who broke down and what way? I don't like, broke down in a good way or in a bad way. There's a fine line between admiration and parasocial though. Like I admire Chris Evans and his work, but the moment I start engaging in his everyday life that's one-sided, it's like weird. It's like fanatics. Yeah. Oh, happy like in a good way. Yeah. Like literally 100% same. It literally happened on the IRL stream a couple days ago. It was very sweet. It happened on the stream the other day during an IRL stream. This fan and her mom saw them on the street and the fan was like, feel strong, man. Yeah. The cameraman said it happened at least 10 times on Hassan's stream. In a good way, can freak out. Ray's producer said this happened almost a dozen times in front of him before. Wow. That's so sweet. I mean, like, I understand that though, right? Because like if you're going through, for example, like a hard time and this streamer is like the only thing or one of the only things like keeping you together, when you finally maybe are capable of of getting yourself back on your feet. When you look back on that person, you like reminisce very positively about them, right? Like if I watch XQC like while I'm like very depressed at home, and you know, maybe like I'm dealing with COVID, or like maybe I'm dealing with like someone in my life getting COVID and being really sick, or like I don't have a job at the time because I got laid off because of COVID, and this has been the only thing like keeping me going. Like I'm just like, you know what? Let's just get out of bed. Let's just go watch some XQC. You know, that'll be it. But at the very least, if I can just get out of bed and start doing that, then great. When you finally do like get yourself back in a good position, you get a job again, you are able to like move into a better place, you go out more with friends, you like look back on that and you're like, wow, like if it wasn't for that stream, if it wasn't for that streamer, like I could have been in a much worse place, you know? I think that that's fine. Like I don't think that there's anything problematic about that. But anyways, I didn't even see that Moist Critical was reporting on this.
I just learned about a really weird situation involving Pokimane and a creepy employee of a major company, and it's left me feeling the same way I felt when I was a young sprout that watched Inception for the first time. Confused. Usually when I'm talking about things on the internet, I like to set the dinner table to prepare all of you for the meal we're about to consume together, give you like little cliff notes on what the whole thing is about, but in this case, I just can't. My tiny little smooth reptile brain can't fully grasp what exactly happened here. It's such a wild web of wacky, shady, sketchy shit that it's just not computing in my little noodle here. So I'm just gonna go ahead and start playing some of the clips and do my best to break it down because it's a really interesting and strange case.
Someone that I and many streamers have been working with, someone who was also employed at a large company in the industry, has targeted and manipulated girls, specifically in my community, by falsifying a romantic and sexual relationship with me.
Now, Pokimane treats their name like Voldemort. She doesn't speak it. She doesn't talk about who the employee is in order to...
She says that the reason is to protect like the girls who are involved because they didn't consent to being talked about and whatever. Because you know, the second that it comes out like which girls were being abused or which girls were being manipulated or whatever, there's going to be a slew of dumb fucks online. They're like, just say no or whatever. You guys know the classic. So she's trying to protect them, or at the very least,
the anonymity of the victims. Admittedly, I don't really understand that concept, considering if this is a powerful, prominent figure in the industry, I feel like it would have been a great service to actually name and shame them, so that way people know to avoid them in the future. But I'm not familiar enough with the situation to say for sure if that actually was optimal, maybe the right way of playing it to keep it clean and safe for everyone. I don't know. But anyway, this Sith Lord of Cringe was a high-level employee at a company that was big into the streaming space. Most people are speculating it was a former Twitch employee, and if you held me down and waterboarded me and forced me to make a guess, I would also say it was most likely a former Twitch employee because Pokimane mentions that this person had a lot of connections with a ton of streamers, and there's just not many brands that work with a lot of streamers that they'd share in common. So I feel like the most likely answer is a former Twitch employee. And let's just face it, let's just be honest with each other here, all right? There's no reason to beat around the bush. I don't need to serve you syrup on your pancakes. I'll give them to you raw. There are some fucking creepy Twitch employees that have worked there. It's just the facts. This would not be the first Twitch employee to be a weirdo that has abused their power. There have been cases where some lower level employees have done.
What about the other girls who aren't aware of the creep? I mean, realistically speaking, Pokey will probably speak to like some higher ups about it and she will get him like fired, you know? So she doesn't need to publicize his name. She just needs to get him out of the space. And presumably she will, and she's working on it. Pokey said that he was fired. Like all that matters is that the person in question is fired so that they can't hurt women anymore. That's it. It does, like, she doesn't need to tell like who the person is, who he abused. She doesn't need to say all this stuff, right? It's not necessary. All that she needs to do is make sure other women don't get hurt. How do you do that? You go to Twitch execs and say, this fucking creep is not good for business. Hello, HR, get rid of this guy. And then they fire him. Honestly, not saying his name publicly also protects her from lawsuits. Very good point. Actually, very, very, very good point.
Very sketchy things in their position. And this would kind of fit that modus operandi of someone doing something similar.
Leaking privileged information he gathered from his job, as well as threatening to harm himself if these girls turn against him. He is well networked in the industry. He knows many streamers. He has helped us with many things. This was someone that we were genuinely grateful for their help. A few months ago, a few girls in my community came
Oh,
forward.
yeah, that's another good point. Idiot people will come out to his defense if they know his name. I didn't even think about that, but that's 100% fucking valid. Every time there is any single person who has even one person who likes them, they can do the most heinous shit on the planet, and people will be like, why are you attacking him? He literally didn't do anything. And it's like, what the fuck are you talking about? Hello? Hello? Are we living on the same planet?
Me with some concerns and asked to speak to my manager. They proceeded to send my manager countless screenshots and videos of their conversation with him, proving the lying and manipulation that was going on.
The more Pokimane explains this person, the more I picture them as an unhealthily obsessed parasocial weirdo Reddit fanfic loser drooling all over themselves for a streamer because they're so delusional that they think they're entitled to a relationship with him because they donate money. But in this case, that stalker creep type actually had power. According to Pokimane, this was someone that they had worked with for multiple years now and had actually used confidential information from their conversations to try and manipulate Pokimane's female viewers into liking him somehow. This is where his supervillain plan makes no sense to me. It is more confusing than quantum science. So his plan is to reach out to Pokimane's female viewers and let them know that he is dating and having sex with Pokimane, and then fabricating screenshots to prove it in order to what? Like, how does that further his goal of getting laid, I guess? It makes no sense. We're dividing by zero trying to understand what this guy's thought process was. Pokimane explains that he would reach out to the female viewers, inform them of his relationship to her, and then what? Like, what was his end goal? I don't get it. Like, if it was other streamers, I would almost understand it, where he reached out to them to try and, like, form some kind of business relationship. Like, oh, hey, I saw you in Pokimane's chat. Well, I actually fuck her. So, you can trust me. I know what I'm doing. And I also work at this company. Like, that would almost make sense, and I guess maybe that is part of it. But she doesn't single out that he only reached out to streamers. He apparently reached out to just anyone in her chat that was female. So, like, this guy was casting the widest net imaginable, just swiping right on everyone on Tinder in Pokimane's chat. And then letting them know that he's dating her and they're sexually active, making love together, I guess. And then he'd even trauma dump by saying that he's suicidal in order to try and force them into a sympathetic situation where they'd feel obligated to communicate with him and stay in touch with him. Otherwise, they'd be afraid that he'd fucking kill himself, throw himself off of a goddamn rooftop or something if they ignored his Discord message. Like, this guy is just a fucking weirdo scumbag, and his plan doesn't make any sense.
So basically, he would reach out.
Okay, chat, tell me if I'm off base. I feel like if you're delusional enough to think that it'll work, you probably also have like a really big ego. Like, if you're delusional enough to think that this will never blow up in your face, you have to have like a big ego and think that you're like this mastermind. Like, in his head, he was probably like, yeah, I'm so fucking smart, dude. I'm working it. I'm working the crowd, you know? It's kind of like the Chris D'Elia situation. Dude felt like Kira. Like, literally, exactly. It feels like the Chris D'Elia situation where he's like a very successful comedian who women already like. Like, that is someone who Chris D'Elia wouldn't even have problems like getting late because he's so famous that there have to be people who know about him who have some type of parasocial relationship with him. But it wasn't like enough for him because he was like, well, I need to do all this other crazy, insane shit, which makes me think that I would never do something like that because I just think it would blow up in my face. If I was like, okay, I have this master plan to harass or like abuse these women, and it starts with me gaining their trust by pretending like I'm dating someone that they like, I would be like, I feel like this is gonna blow up in my face. I'm not gonna do this. I don't think I can pull this off. I think eventually someone is gonna tell this to Pokimane and then it'll look really bad for me. So I'm not even gonna bother. That sounds so stupid, you know? Whereas I feel like if you have like an insane ego, you're like, yeah, I could totally pull it off. It'll never blow up in my face. You know what I mean? You're giving him way too much credit. Mental illness and narcissist does entail a big ego usually. Ego the size of the sun, no impulse control, yeah.
Girls that he knew were like in my chat or viewers of mine, he would approach them. And because of his connections with streamers and the company he worked at, he seemed like a very trustworthy individual. He would then tell the girls that he's suicidal and deals with mental health issues, which of course would garner him a lot of sympathy. And again, these girls are so sweet, so of course they would hear him out. And And then once he felt that he gained their trust enough, he would start sharing these photoshopped Discord conversations with me. Like he would share it with them, but they were of me and him, as well as making up like wild stories about me. He acted like he knew and hung out with me and my friends in person. This is someone I've never met.
Again, what the fuck was his plan? It doesn't make sense. If his whole thing is about I'm dating Pokimane, so you can trust me, and I also work at this company so you can like turbo trust me, give me a big fist bump. I'm just here looking out for you. I saw you and her chat and I thought, man, being the benevolent saint I am, I can help this girl. That's why I'm reaching out to you. But then what? Like, you're already conveying your inner relationship with someone, so why would they then be enticed to try and, like, hook up with you if that's the goal? If the goal was, like, to get pussy or whatever. It just, none of it makes any sense at all. This is, like, actual, like, deranged lunacy.
What was he cooking? He was cooking water.
Fabricated all of this just to manipulate these girls. He claimed that his relationship with me made him suicidal, and he used this to make the girls feel like they couldn't turn their backs on him.
Dude, I literally feel so bad for Pokey. I literally feel so bad for her. Like, I don't even know. I don't know how she does it. I have no idea how she does it. Like, I deal with like a fraction, like the smallest amount of harassment. Like, I really do not deal with that much. My harassment is like when I post pictures online, people will be like, LOL, ugly. And that's it. Like, that's like the most harassment. And then like sometimes when like right-wing communities find me, then they like send their goons, and then I just put my account on like protected, and then I unprotect it, and that's it. Like it's really not that bad. But like Pokey literally, like she has people like grip, like fully grip. Like there are people who are just deranged because of her. Like, she hasn't even done anything to these people, and they're like, hi, Pokey, just so you know, I'm gonna make your life as terrible as I can. It's like, what the fuck? Like, genuinely, what is going on? What are we going to do? I don't even know how I would be able to deal with it, like, genuinely. I guess, like, I would wipe my tears with my $100 bills and stuff. That would probably make me feel a little better, but still, I just do not understand. I just don't understand. That's so weird. She deals with so many weirdos. It's really bad. It's really, really bad.
Told elaborate stories of our alleged sexual encounters in detail to girls that are like in my community, use like inappropriate photos, like nudes that weren't of me, and he would send them to the girls and say that it was me. He also leaked confidential information to these girls to gain their trust.
What a master scheme.
What the okay. Now I'm siding with Charlie really quickly. What is the game plan? What do you think is going to happen when you share fake nudes of the person that you're dating? This guy was like 0 IQ, like straight up. If I was talking to someone in like the Twitch sphere and they were like, you can trust me, I'm dating Pokey, I would be like, oh, okay, cool. And then they send me her nudes and they're like, this is Pokimane naked. I would be like, that's weird because like I didn't ask for those. And I don't think she's given you consent to do this. Like, that's strange. That is really strange that you would send me these pictures. That's really weird. Can you please delete this message? Like, that's so weird to me. That's really strange. Does Pokey know that you're doing this? Like, what?
Mega mind here. Hey, here's Pokimane's nudes. So, do you want to work with me? Like, I don't get it. So he'd Photoshop nudes or deepfake nudes, potentially, and claim that they're Pokimanes to the girls in her community to try and manipulate them into being his friend and then romantically getting involved with him. Like, how does that work? Like, how does sending nudes claiming that they're Pokimane lead to those girls you're sending them to being like, wow, I can't wait to fuck this guy. This guy's having sex with Pokimane. I need to have sex with this guy. Like, what in tardation is going on here? What a load of hooey.
It's really
this dude
weird.
ate way too much glue growing up and then got addicted to porn or something because what the fuck? It doesn't make sense. Now, it's not that I'm doubting it happened. I absolutely do believe this happened. And it does highlight an issue where when someone like this guy does get in a position of power, they have the ability to abuse it. She mentions that he'd leak confidential information.
Okay, and like for like this is the last time I'm gonna say it, but like straight up, if this was like 2016, everyone under the sun, other than like a few women, would have been like, I just don't believe you, Pokey. This story doesn't make sense. So you're really telling me that some men are so stupid that they would do this? That's just not possible because men are smart, rational beings. Like straight up, dude, straight up. Whereas today, like we actually realize like Pokey has a lot to lose by making false accusation about people. She already knows that the internet is predisposed to hating her if she does literally anything. And the craziest thing too is that because Pokey is like a nice person who has like a cute voice or whatever, people just assume that she's fake. Have you guys talked to normies about Pokimane? Like genuine question. Has anyone here talked to like a normie about Pokimane? Because even the normies that you talk to, I've talked to some normies about Poke before. I've been like, I tell them like, oh, some friends of mine who are like not Twitch streamers and they know that I Twitch stream. They'll be like, oh, like Pokey or whatever, but like Pokey's so fake. And I'm like, what? And they're like, yeah, you know, right? And I'm like, no, she's actually really, really, really sweet. She's actually really nice. And they're like, oh, really? And I'm like, yeah, why would you think that? And they were like, well, I don't know. She seems like it. And it's like, whoa, my God, that's so mean. Oh my God. It's just like we have like, are you sure? Are you sure about this, sir? So this is what I mean. This is what I mean, chat. Look, someone in chat is doing it for me. Pokey doesn't have a cute voice. Sounds like she has a resting bitch voice. Permanent, bless your heart child type sound and attitude. This is what I mean, chat. Like there are people who really feel this way. I've heard similar takes about Valkyrie. People think that she's evil or something. Like straight up, like people see women being nice and they're like, well, she must be faking it because there's no way that a woman would be cute, successful, and nice. She has to secretly be a massive bitch. I just don't get it. I really don't understand. I mean, you guys have seen like people say the same thing about like Lily Pichu, that like Lily Pichu is actually, she's just faking it. She's doing the fake voice so that she can garner e-girls or like e-boy sympathy or whatever the fuck. Like, I don't get it. Oh my gosh, I don't understand. I really don't get it. It's so confusing to me. It's like, it's so weird. I think I've shared this story with you guys before. There are Twitch streamers in the space that I have met that are gigantic douchebags. Gigantic fucking assholes. Basically, all of them were men. And I'm not saying that all of the women on the platform are great. Of course not. 100% not saying that. I'm just saying there are a lot of male streamers and there are a good handful of them that are like, they're just assholes is all. People who I have walked up to talk to and they're like, they just think that they're better than everyone else. And when you talk to them, they're just like, they're very standoffish. They don't look at you when you talk to them because they think that they're better than you. And they're like, yeah, like what about it? Like there is no mutual human being respect. It's literally like, no, you are beneath me. It's why, like, honestly, I'm going to say it. Oh, do I want to say it? I think it's part of the reason why I am sympathetic to XQC. That I know that he is someone who makes mistakes and I know that he's someone who says dumb shit all the time. But he was actually one of the few big male streamers that I met that was actually just like a normal person in real life. Like, he was just a normal person. There was no ego. There was no, I'm better than you. There was like none of that. He was just like a normal person, which was like insane to me, by the way. I didn't understand him, just to be clear. When he was talking to me, I was like, yeah, like, yeah, man, like, I agree. What did he say? I don't know what he said. But like, he's just a guy who eats his toenails. You know what I mean? Like, he doesn't think that he's the shit or anything. Like, and he's someone who knows how much power he has on Twitch. He knows how much clout he has. He knows how much money he has. Like, it's not like he's delusional about how important he is. But when he talks to people, he looks them in the face. He responds with not like one word responses. He actually cares that he's talking to people. Like, he treats other people as like human beings. Like, he is actually, was he stinky? No, he wasn't. He's just a guy who eats his toenails. I spit my drink out. He does. Like, it's really disgusting. It's like actually really gross. Like, I don't know why he does it. It's really fucking gross. I was at the Streamer Awards last year. And when I ran into Pokimane at the Streamer Awards last year, I was so starstruck. I'm not even gonna front. I was like, I couldn't believe it. I was like, oh my God, it's Poki. Oh my God. And I asked her for a picture and I felt like such a fucking gross ass loser asking her for the picture. And I literally was like, it's okay if you're too busy and stuff. Blah, blah, blah. And she was like, no, oh my God, I would love to. And I was like, she really didn't need to do all that. Like, she didn't have to be that nice. She could have been like, yeah, sure. Okay, I have to go. Or she could have said no. Like, I gave her a way to say no. I told her, like, if you want it, I understand that streamers that big are busy and they have people asking them for pictures all the time. But she was just like, she was so nice about it. Like, she's not someone who is like an asshole. You know what I mean? Like, I would be very surprised if she was like hiding it that many layers deep. But people just have, did you post a pic? She was like, I just don't get it. I think it stems from this idea that women have to pick to be one of like a few things. There is, I feel like, this prominent idea that women are just one. They have to only be one thing. You're either successful or you're not. You're either hot or you're smart. Like, you're not allowed to be multiple good qualities. You're not, yeah, women are not allowed to multi-class. But I don't get why that is. You know what I mean? I picked a good time to tune in. Isn't that the truth? And it's really sad. It's like really, really sad because like, why can't women just be multiple things? Why can't women? Because we don't mind when men are multiple things, right? Like there are plenty of men that I think are like smart, that are nice, and that are like cool and attractive. But then when it comes to women, there's such a strong Madonna whore complex that men will talk about women that they've never met in their lives. And this is always the crazy thing to me. It's insane to me that people make these generalizations about someone that they've never spoken to before. It's so strange. It's so strange. It's so strange to me. I will never understand it. Marginalized class gets stereotyped. Yeah. I just don't understand it. Okay, we'll press play on the video.
She goes on to give an example where he would leak what she'd make off of a brand deal. So
that's just how she comes off. I watched a fair amount of Poki, and that's just the general vibe that she puts off. Maybe it's just a you thing, man, because I've watched a lot of Poki, and I've never gotten that vibe from her, ever. I have never gotten the vibe of like that she has a resting bitch voice, perma bless your heart type attitude. I have never, ever gotten that vibe, ever. And I've watched her just chatting. I've watched her play Valorant. I've watched her play Overwatch. I've never felt that way about her because she's never, do you know what I mean? Why are you watching her, brother? It's giving obsession. It's giving obsession, which I get it.
He would tell these girls in Pokimane's community, here's what Pokimane's making off of this brand deal, as a way of being like transparent and making it seem like, wow, this guy knows his shit. So he would leak confidential shit, which you can't do, obviously, and faking the nudes and everything in order to, for some reason, manipulate them into wanting to be with him. All of it is so fucking weird. So bizarre.
Afterwards, he would then try to develop romantic and sexual relationships with these girls. After gaining their trust, he would hit on them, offer to fly them out, meet up in person, buy them gifts, ask for inappropriate photos of them after sending them fake inappropriate photos of me.
This is so fucking stupid. This guy is an absolute imbecile. Here's some naked photos of Pokimane. Now, can you send me pictures of your boobies? I'd like to see your titties, please. Madame, would you like to come out to my neck of the woods? I'll fly you out, and we can discuss more of Pokimane's nudes together. Because, as you know, I'm in a sexual relationship with her, of course. None of it makes sense. Like, it is so wild and such a shitty thing to do. And it doesn't even make sense why he'd do it in the first place, because the plan itself is nonsensical. It's so weird. So weird. So he disclosed the confidential information about like brand deals and money like that after reaching out, like cold calling like a fucking telemarketer to just women in Pokimane's chat to try and earn their trust through pretending to be suicidal and in a relationship with Pokimane. And then somehow that's supposed to translate to them flying out to him to have sex. How? Why? It's so fucking weird. So yeah, I just wanted to go over this because I've been racking my brain on it for a couple hours now. I heard this, or I saw these clips a couple hours ago, and I've just been stewing on it, just marinating, trying to really get a grasp on what the fuck actually was going on in this dude's fucking brain to do this
Like
goofy
nothing was going on in his brain, actually.
shit. It's so weird. So I just wanted to share it. That's about it. See ya.